busy doing that now for almost 2 years. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. And in the second part of this, we have a menu for you, like a backlog of topics you can choose from, where we'll tell you a bit more about it. And we can also reflect on it together. So you can ask questions, and maybe we'll have some questions for you as well in the end, in part 3, and also a little takeaway. So we're in Amsterdam, and which is, as most of you will know, the capital city with many citizens, also quite a big organization in 17,000 employees. And there are many challenges we face, societal, social, spatial, but also many ambitions this city has when it comes to the smart city IT things. And Elwin and I work at the IT department in Amsterdam for mostly the spatial challenges and the smart city challenges. And there was a lot going on in Amsterdam. I have to go a little bit back in time, because before 2015, Amsterdam was organized like a little 100 villages and strongly decentral. They reorganized it in 2015, and well, they started to professionalize also the IT departments where we now work. And so the business units, which were a lot of them, could not decide for themselves what they wanted to buy, what they wanted to implement, and how they wanted to use their information. So work piled up because they just demanded all the things they ever had and wanted, like they used to when they were a small village. And we just had to go along with that. So it was really difficult for us to know how to prioritize our work. And that was also due to that we were not very good at having a good relation with strategic business partners. So we could not be the trusted advisors who tell them, don't do this, don't do that, because they didn't let us. They just demanded what we should do. Nextly, we, well, decided when everything is important, nothing is. You will realize that. And we ended up with too much work. So we got stuck, and we got stuck like this picture here, which is an actual picture of the city of Amsterdam in the 70s, where there were traffic jams already. And we had a traffic jam of projects and all the work that we had to do without any prioritizing or anything. So that led us to, we wanted to work agile to solve this. And there were some other departments in the city of Amsterdam that already tried this and did small things and new things in an agile way. But there was just tiny little teams somewhere hidden where we could not find them. And these teams did not get the chance to be self-organized because we have a long tradition of governance, bureaucracy, and waterfall projects. So sometimes there were teams that developed a small app or did something really cool with data, such as having a dashboard to see where it's too busy in the city and how to avoid that. But they did not know how to exploit it on a larger level. So they were left using that for a few people, which was very pity. Next is that we try to, sort our work and try to prioritize it in a weekly check-in we introduced, where we, as management of the IT department, came together to prioritize the issues that we were facing. But this was only partly helpful because our business partners just kept demanding and more and more work. And we're really unhappy with the progress that we made because everything went too slow. So that did not bring any results any faster, and we did not have focus. And in fact, many people from our department were sometimes very, very tired, and our, what do you call that? The number of people that were sick increased sometimes very rapidly. So that was no good. Until sometimes in the end of 2018, our manager realized we have to really do something radically different, because also we are supporting the big goals of the city, such as maintaining the quays and the bridges. As you see here, this is a really actual problem we had. The quays and bridges are not well maintained, so they collapse. And also, we contribute to that. So objective of our department also be to support the city in doing this in a better way. Another one is that we're trying to be the smartest city in Europe, with all the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence and all that there's to buy, which is possible to help the city be safer and a better place to live in. Also, that is an objective. So our manager gave us the book of John Doerr, and we started to try to use OKRs. We started small because we were really not knowing how to make it a bigger effort. And we started by making OKRs for 2 teams. And we were struggling how to really develop our objectives, because how would you do that when you're a city? But when you're a commercial firm, it's really easier to do such thing. So we worked with OKRs such as all files and bridges on bridges and quays must be digital. That's really what we can do. Or should that maybe contribute to a well-maintained and safer city? We didn't know, but we tried with the first one to get a little more focus on what we did. Also, in another part of our business is the living of the houses. We would have the goal to track down all housing fraud, which is what happens a lot. Maybe not now so much, but in the time that there were many tourists, it did. And they were using all kinds of new technologies for that. So they could really be effective in tracking down all this housing fraud. These were the 2 where we started, and that was in January 2019, 2 teams. We scaled very quickly in the second quarter to 10 teams to work with OKRs. And by June, we started our 3rd quarterly business review. Also that year, we started with our IT management to develop 2 main objectives for the year 2020. So we could hand them over to the teams as a direction for crafting their own OKRs in their teams. By March this year, all teams check in weekly with their own team and together with the team leads and management together every week on a Tuesday morning. In September, so last month, we involved the business partners in prioritizing and crafting our OKRs for the 4th quarter of this year. That's where we stand now. And what are our next steps for this quarter of this year? We're ambitious, so Elwin and I have decided that we want all IT units, which are, well, quite a lot in our Amsterdam organization, using OKRs. And so we want to scale to more teams using more agile coaches, which we educate ourselves. And we also want to start by introducing KPIs. There are several topics that we had to craft OKRs for that are now in place and can be started can start to monitor using KPIs instead of OKRs because they're in place now. What also is an improvement that we're starting to realize is resource management. And lastly, but not least important, is that we want to empower our teams even more to become real teams, self-organized, with even more ownership than they have now. That's where we stand today. And that's our journey on OKRs in Amsterdam. So if you want to hear more, Let's take a vote.
Yes, let's
Elwin.
take the vote. Thank you, Wilma. Like we said, we have a backlog for you guys. Backlog filled with 7 backlog items from the Agile in the City of Amsterdam to our bloopers and the Agile Guild. And you guys have a vote in which subjects we're gonna talk about in the next 27 minutes. So if you please want to go to menti.com with your phone or in your browser and enter the code like you see on the screen, then we can have a vote. Oh, there are 3 participants in the voting, so there are more in the call. So we'll wait. You see our learnings on top right now.
It's funny, it's quite different from the
Yeah,
last session.
yeah.
It's divided. You want to hear everything. Don't think we have time for that.
OKRs are also prioritized, so we will wait 30 seconds.
So bloopers are interesting, right?
Absolutely. Listen learns.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Can I ask a question while we're waiting? If it's
Yes,
okay?
of course.
In the previous slide, when you said you introduced KPI, I'm a bit curious about like what exactly you meant by that. I didn't catch it because I thought we are trying to really focus on the outcome and what we do, right? And not on the measurement of the KPI on the level of what you do, like achieving $1 million or something like that. Just I'm trying to put my head together here on this thought.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. What we try to do is we try to use our OKRs for the things that needed a big change. And those are also things that like we have some things that are, well, like we come from a, how do you call that? There are many systems or IT systems that had not enough maintenance and had their like a technical debt or such kind of thing. So the OKRs we had this year were focused on that and bringing that up to date. And now that we have that, we don't need to have an OKR focused on that anymore. So we try to use a OKR for different things like innovation and new projects and like new stuff. And these other things, so like our systems having the right contracts, are they up to date? That's what we want to monitor in the KPIs.
Those are more the health metrics, and the OKRs is especially for the change. Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
I believe so in some way, indeed, because I work also in IT, and I would say even when I'm focusing on operational maintenance, I do focus on the OKR to, like, let's say, to ensure business continuity, for example, for my customer XYZ. So in the end, I'm doing all the activities to upgrade and do the maintenance and the data recovery center or whatsoever. But I don't really name them as KPIs. I moved from this area actually.
Okay, interesting. That's also an angle.
yeah.
All right.
All right, we started with our learnings. Then we go to our bloopers, and then we can go back to the backlog items. There are 2 with 2 votes and 1 with 1. So we have 24 minutes left. So now, first, let's go to our learnings. Let me see. That's at the end of our presentation.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our first lessons learned. The first is go and start small. So like Wilma said before, we started with 2 accountings and not a whole department of not a whole the whole city with 2 teams, and then simply go. And go is a mindset, but it's essential to start, and make no further assumptions or models or plans, but just start and yeah, start small and think big, and don't stop and be persistent. So in the time you will get moments that people place questions about the method. Is this the right way? Can we do it another way, etc. But then it's important as an ambassador of OKRs that you have to be persistent and you have to learn always. And you can make small changes, but you have to still believe in the method and don't stop. So those two lessons learned are not quite similar, but they have a relationship. The third one is stop starting, start finishing. Maybe some of you guys notice this as a typical Kanban statement, but it's important that you finish your task, finish your initiatives before you start a new one. In the city of Amsterdam, everybody say yes, 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 I will do that. You will get it next week. But at the end, the work is too much. So it's important that you that you finish things and tasks before you start a new one. And it's also in the OKR transformation.
Yeah. The culture of Amsterdam is a little bit like we're like to do everything at the same time. So we don't tend to use too much focus. We don't like that because we like new stuff.
Yeah. So the third one is indeed, like Wilma said, a very important one to get focus on the things that we have with the most value. And the last one is keep content and separate from the process. So we have different, we call it in Dutch account houders. It's quite some kind of the managers in the teams, team leads, and they are responsible for the content. But we have separate content from the process and have divided several agile coaches to the team. So each team has an agile coach, and they are responsible for the process. So they are also responsible to facilitate the several events in OKRs, but also facilitates our weeklies, etc. But maybe we have more time left at the end, so we can give you more information about our weeklies. These are the lessons learned. Before we go to the bloopers, the second one in the backlog, are there questions about the lessons learned?
Maybe tips for us.
Or tips.
Feedback.
I can share my experience with what we did at point number 4. Exactly, we follow what you just said. We let the subject matter expert on the topic itself, the content, work on the topic. And we introduced, instead of one OKR master or OKR coach, as you said, we had a circle of OKR masters. So we rotate, and at each session or each weekly, we do have at least 2 OKR master attending that session. So we ensured the horizontal alignment is in the whole organization level, and the learning also. So the team, the OKR masters, all of them are aware of all the OKRs, shared OKRs and the cascading OKRs happening at all level of the organization. So maybe introducing this kind of concept also reduce the risk of a single point of failure, if you think about it. Yeah. Also, you improve your adaptation as well for the OKR itself and the whole organization.
And this circle is within the team, so every time there's another OKR master.
We created an OKR master circle, which means in the whole organization we trained OKR's team to be only certified and actually doing this kind of job beside their actual job. So they have a virtual role and they have their original role. And the selection process is very simple, because we meet before the as an OKR master, we decide like, okay, this week who's gonna be attending, who's available, who's free, and so on. So even when you go on vacation, you have the continuity as well also available.
Nice to hear. We have also established, like you said, we call it the Agile Guild, established in April 2020, and they are also Yeah, they're also ambassadors of the OKR mindset and the agile
Mhm.
principles, and focus on process instead of content. So,
Nice.
nice.
But cycling then among the teams is what
Yeah,
we don't, but it's a
yeah,
really interesting angle.
that's a
Thank you
good
for
tip.
sharing that. It's a
Absolutely,
good,
anytime.
yeah.
Okay, that was the first backlog item. Let's go to the bloopers.
Okay, that's my call. Yeah, what were really bloopers? At first, we started, as we said, in December of 2018, starting in the year of 2019. And we had the introduction of OKRs done by our manager, which we had a really big presentation, which was a good one, but with really his own language and what was in his head, which he introduced to the whole department. And that was, too much at once, because no one had ever heard of OKRs, and this was really difficult for people to comprehend at once. So that was a shame, because we should have done that a little more low level, so it wasn't too difficult for people to understand. And that's where we started. So we shouldn't have done that in this kickoff meeting. It should have been in separate, smaller meetings. Secondly, as I said earlier, we started with a check-in with only management, and they were the ambassador of some teams. And they brought all issues and all questions, or maybe sometimes they brought in also the priority questions, but that took too much time, and that didn't solve the problem of not prioritizing over the whole of all the activities we did. So we really needed the team leads to come along in the check-ins, because they knew exactly what was going on in their teams. Thirdly, we started the first quarterly business reviews with all employees. This had a reason, but was also a little bit difficult, because not all employees were part of the teams that started with OKR. So they wondered what they were doing. And we did the first ones in a church. So they were really wandering around the church, which is a big church. So we lost some of them. We don't know where they are. For the fourth, the QBR's first two were completely without our business partners. That's because we didn't have the relation that they would want to come to this event. They had to invest in being a trusted advisor to them. And so I think in the third quarter, they started coming also to this event to help aligning and prioritizing all the work that need to be done. Fifth was that we, in the beginning, just handed a small guide to our teams and told them to craft the OKRs, and had one session to help them. But after that, they were on their own for a while. Now we've organized much more support in many various ways, from masterclasses to playbooks, but also reviewing the OKRs, and there's also lots of material they can find on our internet. Lastly, we started out with having trouble to use effective measures for key results, because in the beginning, it was really a struggle to find the right OKRs, the right key results, but measuring them was even harder. And most of the teams started with percentage measurement, which wasn't the real measurement, but was just something you get out of your thumb. I don't know how to call that, but you make up. And so every next quarter, we try to help them search for more effective measures that really were related to reaching the objectives that they had. And that's still a struggle, but we should have done and started earlier with that, because it's much harder to repair this now. So that's about, not all the bloopers, but the most important ones we made. Must have had many more, but these were the most important ones.
Before we go to the next backlog item, Are there any questions about our bloopers or the amount of bloopers?
Actually, I have two questions. They are not necessarily related about bloopers, so I was hesitating. I'm not sure if I should ask them right now.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
yeah, so first one is about the team leads. I'm curious about the role because is it something like product owner or what exactly is that role and how does it fit in the agile framework?
You can call it a product owner, but at Amsterdam we don't work with the Scrum method. So there are some initiatives or some projects who are picked up and we're going to use Scrum. But in the end, we don't use the Scrum framework. So they are not directly compare. You can not direct compare it with the product owner, but they give some kind of a vision of what we're going to do and also some kind of a direction. So in that way, yes, but we don't have a lot of product owners divided in the teams.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay, thank you. And the second one is about the business partners. Um, First of all, who exactly are they? I mean, are they the end users of your systems of your applications, or who
Yes,
are they?
they are the end users, but they're also directors of units like the departments that, well, urban management or like economics, yeah. Different business units that have different kind of tasks, and we level with them at several levels. So strategically on management level there's contact, but there's also a level on the level of end user there's contact.
So basically they are stakeholders, your stakeholders. And about the fourth point, when you said that one of the fails was that they were not there, I'm curious, are they now on board? I mean, because this is one of the struggles that we have in our organization right now.
Yeah, they're on board, but I could not say for all of the teams that work on OKRs. It depends on the team. There's some teams that are really good on board. There are also some teams that are still struggling to find the right partners to attend. This is a real tough process.
Okay, thank you.
You recognize that, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can we move on?
Yes, we're going to the last backlog item. And we have two items with the same votes. But we go to the role of Agile coach. And that's at the beginning at our...
You're really being democratic now, right?
Yeah, but because, I'm the product owner right now.
Okay, so you decide.
I did all decide. The role of the
Agile coach.
Role of the Agile coach. At the moment, we have 10 Agile coaches.
20 more.
And there are 10 coming. And those Agile coaches are divided to the different teams, to the account teams. And they have had a training in agility most of the time.
And crafting OKRs.
And crafting OKRs. So we also have done several master classes, how you go from strategic teams to top priorities, and from top priorities to objectives and key results. And those coaches now have had it all. And after the coaching, the training part, we will send them to the teams. And the Agile coach is really a team coach on the team level and the individual level regarding Agile and OKR principles. So they make use of short goal cycles, they encourage transparency, and they encourage following of working with a cadence. And this is a very important role. And since we separate content from process, we see more progress in the teams. About progress, the role of the Agile coach is also to facilitate the crafting process for OKRs, and monitoring the progress. We are monitoring the progress via Perdue. That's our OKR dashboard, and we have we set up the O's, we set up the KRs in the system, and now every 2 weeks we go to Perdue with the whole team, and then we will fill in our progress. And the OKR crafting process is also every third month. The third month in a quarter, and then we go with the team in a room, digital room nowadays, and we are gonna craft the OKRs, and we'll discuss it with our business partners, and in the end we make it now 100%. But I will show you a picture of this cadence later. Third one is they are ambassadors of the OKR method and agile mindset. So, and fourth is he facilitates the events in our OKR cadence. So I have a picture where I saw it does not working, but so you don't see, I think you don't see a picture. So I will stop share a moment. And then I'll try it again. Oh, it doesn't.
It doesn't show it.
Doesn't show it. I'm sorry. I will try one. Because at the other session, you make it. So hopefully, I think
you might get lucky.
We might get lucky.
Technology is great, but it's even more great if everything works. Presentation mode, yeah.
Okay, I think if we are lucky.
No.
Oh. Yes, we are lucky. So this is the cadence, like our quarterly cadence. Sorry, it's in Dutch. But what do you see? You see the 3 months, and you see that we have every week we have a weekly. So we don't make use of dailies or something, but we have weeklies. So that's every week, no exception in that. Every 2 weeks, we will monitor our progress in Perdue. So it's the check-in Perdue. Also over there, no exceptions. And we have, of course, a mid-quarter review when we have more focus about the progress. So where are we now, and are we on track? The last, you see in Dutch, it's called the weekset accounts, and that's the weekly for our team leads. And at the last 3 weeks of the third month, we're gonna craft new OKRs with the teams. And a week after, we're gonna discuss those OKRs with the business. And then we get back with the teams in a room to make everything complete. And then we start the new month. And we have now, of course, a quarterly kickoff when we are with every teams and the business in one room to prioritize, celebrate our success, and start a new quarter. So this is our cadence we're working with in the city of Amsterdam. Before we go to the questions we have for you, is there one big question you have? I want to...
One last big question.
Last big question, yes.
I think the mentee won't...
Actually, you said before you had... So you want to try to do everything at once. And the schedule that is showed is actually very impressive. It only requires a lot of discipline. Yes. So how did you combine those two together?
The question of, I think one of the most important things we have learned, and we also discussed it, is to don't stop believe and repeat. So the agile coaches, they spread the cadence, and we see after a couple of months, almost everything works with all those events. So repeat, go, and still believe in your methods.
But also be very strict on deadlines and use everyone's agenda to note these deadlines in their agenda. That's what we also did. So the rhythm is fixed and sacred, and no one escapes.
And there are no exceptions on the rhythm. So you can't skip a weekly. You can't skip a check-in in Purdue. No, there are no exceptions. Never.
Does that answer your question? Oh,
Okay.
okay. We have 2 more minutes, maybe one more question, because we had a Menti in for you, but maybe we won't have enough time.
We have enough time.
Okay, we have enough time. So if you will take your phone again, please. So we have some more
To menti.com.
questions for you.
So you can go to menti.com and use the same code. And first question is, what's your golden tip for us regarding our OKR approach or transformation in the city of Amsterdam? So do you have a golden tip for us?
Okay.
I will see not everybody is a Mentimeter.
Yeah, spread the good news. In fact, what we are experiencing now is that we do spread the news. We do a little bit of our own marketing, and that comes back to us now because there's a list of at least more than 5 teams that want to start. We're on the right track. We hope so.
At least at the same track as we are. Nice.
Why do we want to use the OKRs? Yeah, well, I think it's really going to help the city be more effective and flexible in solving the real issues there are in the city to be, well, more focused on the real issues that there are. Now we're trying to fix many things, and that's impossible. How do we find our playbook?
We can go to the topic maybe later. Our playbook is almost finished and very important.
Yeah, actually there's someone in today's event, Jean-Paul van Vliet. He's not here, but he's attending too, and he's helping us with that.
How would you describe this presentation in one word?
Elwin, in about 6 seconds, we're going to get kicked out.
I think we still have 1 minute and 6
1 minute left. Yeah, we have 1 minute left.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We all fall for this, don't worry.
Yes.
But thank you. Well done.
That we have 1 minute left, so I thought.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah. One word. Well done.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing the experience indeed.
Oh, nice. We have a heart. All right. Thank you. And we have 1 question left, so I will keep this question for 20 seconds. And it is, the ranking. So please rank. We would like to hear your opinion. This presentation was 1 to 10, disappointing or great?
Oh, very nice.